Good evening from my driveway, not the cinema car park. I want to talk about a film I went to see last night but didn't get a chance to review. And that film is called Presence. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I went to see something or other, forget what. It was when I went to see A Real Pain. And when you go and see a 15 certificate film, you get 15 certificate trailers. So you quite often get horror trailers on a 15 certificate film. And this trailer started, and it was obviously some sort of haunted house type thing. And it looked really intriguing. And then it came up Presence, and it said directed by Steven Soderbergh. And I went, oh, which made my friend Deb, who was with me, laugh. But he is not a name I would associate with horror films. Steven Soderbergh is famously responsible for the Oceans series, as well as many, many other films. Traffic is also Steven Soderbergh. So yeah, it was a bit of a intriguing pairing, Soderbergh and horror. When you throw in the fact that the screenplay is written by David Coep, whose history of screenplays is just bananas. Jurassic Park, Stir of Echoes, those are two. There are so many more. Unfortunately, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the terrible Indiana Jones film, but just loads. And yeah, it's a really interesting pairing. And what do you know? It's an absolute belter of a film. So Presence tells the story of a family moving into a new home. It is a beautiful home. It's not a particularly creepy home. We're not talking haunted house where it's like on a hill and it's all spooky and that. And there's no history of and the family who lived here before were murdered. You get the impression early doors that something has happened to the family, or rather the teenage daughter, has experienced some sort of trauma. So they are relocating for a fresh start. And they settle into this beautiful new home. But there is definitely some sort of presence around the daughter, whose name has gone completely out of my head. What the hell's her name? I only watched this last night. The mum is played by Lucy Liu, who I haven't seen in anything for a while, and it was really nice to see her back on the big screen. Her husband is played by Chris Sullivan, who most people will know from This Is Us. And then there are the teenage children. There is the son, Tyler. See, I remember his name. And why can't I remember the daughter's name? I really can't. It's very annoying. Tyler is clearly a swimmer. He's quite popular. Ambitious. The mother is entirely devoted to her son and seems to forget a lot of the time that she has a daughter. She's clearly bothered by the path her daughter has chosen, and it emerges quite early on that what the daughter is dealing with is the death of her best friend. Her best friend has died from what appears to be a drug overdose. The daughter obviously dabbles a bit as well, and it's about what is this presence hanging around the daughter. Is it her friend? Is it something else? The reason why I enjoyed this so much is it's really clever. It's incredibly stylish. The entire film is set inside the house, which sounds like it wouldn't work, but it really does. We are never any further outside the house than the porch for the entire film, which is really interesting, and it works really well. And it's not like, obviously, thinking of haunted house type films and films that are all set in the one house, what springs to mind is the Paranormal Activities films, and that's not what this is. It's not CCTV, it's not found footage, it's not anything like that. There is just something in the house, and the camera will swoop around the house a lot in quite a dizzying fashion. So you're getting the point of view of whatever the presence is. It's clearly something, but it's not like a ghost in the sense of like there's an evil spirit here. It's just, they're quite a normal family, albeit a wealthy family. They've had something bad happen to them. It's caused a strain on the family relationships. The fact that the mother, like I say, is completely devoted to her son and his swimming career has driven a wedge between her and her daughter. It's driven a wedge between her and her husband. The father and daughter have a really lovely bond. And it's just really, really good and different. And I just think it's hard to do something original now. There are only a handful of ideas available, and you know, you put a different twist on the same idea. On paper, it's a sort of a haunted house film, but on the screen, because of the caliber of the screenwriter and the director and the cast, it's elevated to something more. It is unsettling, it is creepy, it doesn't resort to cheap jump scares. There are a couple of moments that did sort of make me jump, but it's not a quiet bang horror film. It's not relying on, like I say, cheap shocks. It's well crafted, and like I say, the performances are really good. You're completely intrigued. There is only, God, there's a handful of characters. There's a real estate agent at the beginning. There's the 4 family members. The son has a friend from school, a new friend from school who he brings home, so he's in it. And at one point, once they've sensed that there is some sort of presence, somebody, a friend of a friend who claims to have like psychic abilities, who senses things, she comes to the house with her husband. Other than that, I don't think you see any other characters. It's so clever. There's no flashbacks to the daughter's relationship with her best friend. There's nothing outside of the walls of that house. So you are trapped in, although it's a very big house, that creates some feelings of claustrophobia. It's really interesting, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And yes, it's unsettling and it's creepy, but it's not like a horror. There's no gore, there's no screaming, it's just a really well told story. And you are left with questions as well as getting some of your questions answered. There's some stuff that's left, quite ambiguous. Just really good. Weirdly, when I went to see it last night, there was a trailer for another Steven Soderbergh film, and I thought, bloody hell, he's been busy. And then once I'd watched Presence, I was like, I kind of understand how he's got 2 films coming out in quite quick succession. Obviously, sometimes a film will sit and be, held back for some reason. But looking at Presence, I would imagine it didn't take very long to shoot. I would imagine it was a case of, here's a script, it's a really interesting script. Can we get the right location, the right house? Can we get the right cast? Boom, let's go, let's get the job done. Because you're in the house the whole time. You never need to be. You're not on location at any point. You're not at the mercy of the weather and things like that. I guess you could be, because there are exterior shots, but yeah, it was really, really good, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I thought, isn't Steven Soderbergh good at directing films and that David Coeb writes a good screenplay? All the cast are really good. Like I say, the younger cast members, the 3 teenagers, they were new to me and I didn't clock their names, and I feel bad for that. The more established actors, like I say, Chris Sullivan and Lucy Liu, I did know. But I would encourage a lot, even if you're not a horror fan, as long as you don't mind being unsettled, I would definitely give it a watch. I mean, it's sinister and it's unsettling and it's interesting, and it was really, really good, and I liked it a lot. So yeah, that's it. Job done. So that was my 3rd final film, and then Flight Risk was my penultimate film, and then tomorrow I go for the last time. I'm not okay about it, so expect tears in tomorrow's review. Regardless of what I thought of the film, I will be crying next time I film a review. I guarantee it. Okay, thanks for listening. Katie out.